Welcome to Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. It's November 11th, and we're back in a very familiar location. This is that point off that ridge that we've been spending most of our time hunting. I think it's been 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 days since we were in here last. We had a bunch of rain in between, and hopefully if we had started to burn the spot out, it's bouncing back. Really the thing though, it's hard to burn a spot out if you're just not seeing very many deer there. And we got to thinking it's been almost a week since we've seen a doe from the tree stand. Not only just in this spot, but any place that we've been. We're kind of entering that stage of the rut where a lot of the does are starting to come into estrus. And it's tougher. It gets tougher and tougher now to see bucks unless you've got a hot doe nearby. Wind is, you can hear it, I'm sure. It's blowing probably 10 to 15 miles per hour right now. And it's perfect. This is the perfect wind. You know, some people think that it's best when it's still, and maybe there's places where that's true, but that's not the case here. I've always had my best hunting when it was windy. I'm sure no deer picked up on us coming in here this morning. You know, they wouldn't have heard us. So we're going to settle in for a hopefully a short hunt. That'd be kind of nice for a change to have something come by early. Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, Hunt Stand Pro Whitetail App, Whitetail Institute, Research Equals Results, B3 Releases, XO Broadheads, Exact Sights, Muddy Outdoors Tree Stands, Stealth Cam Trail Cameras, and Hoyt. It's good to see that our old friend Thor is back. I was starting to worry about him. We didn't see him last night. If you haven't been watching the recent episodes, it seems like anywhere we go on this ridge, we find this little button buck. He's not the least bit afraid of us. So we can't use him as a gauge if we're trying to figure out whether or not they can smell us, because even if he can smell us, he's not going to react to it. But there was another deer below there that I grunted at just for fun to see what he looked like, and I think he didn't get close enough to get a real good look at him, but he looked like a pretty young 8-pointer. I thought maybe it was that deer that we saw at the end of the hunt last night, because that was about 250, 300 yards behind me on this ridge. I'd like to get a better look at that deer. So that's the Thor update for today's episode. Since we're getting hit with these gusts this morning, I thought it might be kind of an interesting topic to talk about how much wind is too much wind. I remember when I was just starting out as a bow hunter, the conventional wisdom was that 20 miles per hour was the cutoff. That above 20 miles per hour, the deer didn't move very well. And I don't really think that's necessarily the case. In my experience, it seems like they're still pretty good up in that wind range. I don't really know what the upper limit is. I do know when it starts gusting really hard, like we're supposed to get 30+ mile per hour gusts this afternoon. That definitely makes them spooky, because you know, all of a sudden things are moving quickly all around them. Branches are moving, leaves are moving. It kind of sets them on edge. I also think that a sustained wind is easier for the deer to get accustomed to than the gusting. Like even this little buck that just came in this morning, really both of the bucks that came in this morning were pretty skittish when the wind would gust. You could see them, they'd lift their head up and they'd look around. And those are probably 20-mile-per-hour gusts, I would say, with sustained maybe 15 miles an hour. So anyway, I guess the whole point of this comment is that 20 miles per hour isn't too high of a wind speed. I wouldn't let that keep you from hunting, but you start getting some really hard gusts. I do think that the deer become more cautious, more skittish, and less likely to move. It's 11 o'clock and we are gonna give up on this spot for the morning, and we're gonna go to a different spot for the afternoon. It's pretty rough up here on top of the ridge. When these gusts hit, the whole tree shakes and everything moves, and I don't think a buck is going to be cruising through here under these conditions. I mean, obviously if a buck is on a doe, he's going to go wherever the doe goes, but it just doesn't feel like there's, these hard gusts are almost like too much. And it's been, I think the only activity we saw today was during the first hour and nothing since. So we're going to find a spot that's kind of down out of the wind a little bit more for the afternoon. Should still be on the fringe of this Jordan buck's prior range, and where I think he still is, some of the time this year. We're going to go down to what we call the scrape tree for the afternoon's hunt. So it's 1:30, we're gonna head up the valley to the scrape tree. It's about quarter of a mile or so up above the buildings. I don't really expect that the deer are gonna be coming out to feed that much, but it is right below where we think possibly that this Jordan buck might be bedding at least part of the time. It's where he was living a lot last year. In the trail camera pictures we've got of him, though, not very many, all indicate that he's either moving toward that direction or coming from there. So it's a safe spot, sets up really well for this north wind. It blows right down the valley. So anything up the valley from us, which is where most of the food is, would be on the upwind side. And then if the wind dies this evening, then the thermals will pull right down that valley and take our scent out. So I think that it's a low risk and a good spot for observation. We haven't sat there this year, and it's probably high time that we at least see what's coming out up in there. Got about an hour and 20 minutes left. We've seen 2 young bucks and 3 turkeys. So it's been, I would say, maybe a little bit more eventful than what I expected. I kind of figured we'd be down in here and we wouldn't see much for deer. Usually during the rut, the does don't come to food much because they get tired of being harassed and chased around by every buck. So as a result, the bucks really don't come to those places either. But I guess for that matter, the 2 that we saw are probably an age class of bucks that don't really know how the program works just yet. So they were swinging through, grabbing a bite to eat on their way from one side of the valley to the other. The wind is starting to lay down, which means that the thermals are going to be really what comes flowing down this valley now, and it really works perfect for that. It's kind of nice because most of the food is uphill. So when the wind dies, it's supposed to be a north wind anyway, which would naturally blow down this valley. But even without the wind, when it dies, then the thermals will just roll down and pull our scent, clear down the valley behind us all the way down to the buildings. It's a very comfortable evening as far as rut conditions go. I'd say it's probably 40s, upper 40s, 10 mile an hour wind. Sets up pretty nice for a Veterans Day hunt. And we do want to say thank you to the veterans. We appreciate the sacrifice and everything that you've done to make this country great. God bless America. So I'll check back in right before the end of this evening's hunt. We're down to the last 20 minutes, and the number is still at two bucks. The thermals have really kicked in now. The day wind has died right off, and it's just pulling right down through here. It's perfect. It's kind of a long shot coming down in here. I think this is a better spot before the does start to go into hiding, because I think a late October, maybe even a very early November hunt down in here would do better than what we saw today. But we wanted to try it out. We want to take a look at it from this side, just on the chance that this buck we're hunting might just drop down in here or show up on one of these ridges. We kept a close eye up, but we didn't see him up on top. We're going to be trying again tomorrow. I think tomorrow's Tuesday. I think it's supposed to rain, like 90-some% chance of rain on Wednesday, so I may not hunt Wednesday, but I'll be at it, full scale yet tomorrow. If anything else comes out in these last 20 minutes, we'll show it to you. We appreciate you joining us. We'll see you right back here again tomorrow for the next episode of Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. And remember to always dream big.